Hello everyone, welcome back to CSC 151 Computer Applications. In this video, we're going to go further into positions and stuff like that in the lists. So first and foremost, let me just go and, let me just move that over there. There we go. So let me just go and say things about length. So we have right here 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 in this list. Let me just say y is equal to the len, which stands for length, the length of x. So if I were to print y, use your parentheses, David, print y, I'm going to still wind up with 5, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's still 5 objects in my list, even though the counting starts at 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 is my position of each individual thing, but the total count is still 5. And these rules still apply to any sort of string, okay? So, for example, if I were to say, instead of having this was, the word hello. If I print the length of x, actually, let me go with hello w here, just so I don't have just the same exact 5, execute, it says 7, because HELLO is 5 letters, the space is a 6th character, and the W is the 7th character. There's still 7 spaces in this, okay? And, let me just go to hello there. So if I were to break this down, I have myself my word, and my word is HELLO. And I have my positions going forward. So I'll just put this as FWD. FWD is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and over there would be 5, but there is no 5. It doesn't exist at this. Well, I'll put a 5 there. There we go. And same sort of thing, but this time going backwards, because yes, you could do backwards in this as well. If you wanted to, you could say this was -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, and there definitely is no such thing as -0, so it's not going to work. But if I were to simply say something like this, where if I wanted to print x, I would get the entire word hello. But if I wanted to make sure that my x was, only a part of it, I could do, square brackets, and maybe I could grab from 1, because 1 would be right here, in between, after the H, but before the E, so it would grab the E. So if I did 1, I got the E. We already know to do that. And if I have the colon, I can grab, to the 4. There we go. I will grab, in theory, because there's the 1, there's the 2, 3, and then the 4 ends it, so I'll get from the E to the L to the other L, and it'll stop at 4. And there it goes, ELL, right there. But I can do this in reverse as well. I could start at -2, and I go to -4 as the end point. So from -2, I've got L, and then the E. And it'll stop at -4, so I won't get the H. Oh, sorry, I did that in reverse. -4 is my start point. -2 is my end point, because my start point goes left to right. And there we go, EL, just like that. So, that would be how we would go forward and backwards throughout these sort of things. So, when you're looking at this length, whatever, you're not necessarily looking exactly at the position where the 1 lines up directly with the E, and the 2 lines up directly with the L, and the 0 lines up directly with the H, so on and so forth. You're actually looking at the space around it. So it's like a container. There's a grid pattern if you want to think of it like a grid. And inside that grid, there's a start point and an end point of our item. And we're grabbing essentially whatever's in between the start point and the end point of our item. And that's how this is working. And you can break down any string or any list based on this type of positioning. And if you want to just grab the whole thing, you could just simply use just the colon and it'll give you the whole thing. But, that's sort of how it winds up working. So it always goes from left to right. So if you're using the backwards numbering, you're going to start with a higher backwards and end with a lower backwards. I mean, I guess that's technically a lower backwards and a higher backwards, but, you know what I mean. You're going to have a greater negative number and end with a lower negative number. If you're going forward, you're going to have a smaller number up front and a bigger number at the right-hand side. And if you want one specific number, well, we could do like -5 to -4. That'll give us the H. Or if we don't even have that entirely, we can just do that and it'll give us an H as well. Now, at the same time, if I were to do something like, I don't know, 3 and then a colon and leave this other side completely empty, that'll tell me 3 to the end. So it'll give me 3 to the end. And it'll give me the L and the O. Same thing if I did this where I had the front part empty and I just had, I don't know, the end point being the 2. It'll go from the start to the 2. And it went, there we go, from 0 to the 2. And it ended. And the same thing in reverse. If I did this with, -2, it'll give me from the start to where the -2 is, which would give me HEL. And if I did this in reverse and I said from there to, -3, -3 starts, it'll go to whenever it ends, and it gives me the LLO, because there's -3, there's the L, there's the L, there's the O. It wound up doing exactly what it said it was going to do. It was going to keep going to the end. So yeah, that's how you can just rip apart different things out of a string or different things out of a list. You can just grab individual parts if you want, and, are we going to ever get into this much fine detail as far as knowing what part is which? You could, but just letting you know, each thing in here is essentially its own separate object that you can rip apart and take out. So, lists work the same way as strings. Strings are just a bunch of characters. Lists are a bunch of items inside one variable. Same sort of general concept. Strings are just made up of a bunch of characters. And you can grab each individual character and take apart whatever part you need. Now, in the next video, we're going to actually start inputting our own text instead of having to simply always have it in quotes over here. So, thank you very much, and see you in the next video.